Unpopular parenting opinion part 2. Now, if you're raising children in this generation and you want to raise your children to give you peace of mind quickly, you want to raise children to become responsible, you want to raise children who are not easily manipulated or influenced by their friends, you want to raise children who will behave well whether or not you are there, you want to raise your children to be comfortable enough to come and talk to you about anything and everything at any point in time, then as a parent, your focus shouldn't be to raise your children to be afraid of you. Here are 5 other things you should be focusing on. Number 1, raise your children to respect you. Yes, reason being that children who fear their parents, a lot of times they only act well when they know their parents are around. They act well when they know they will be caught. A lot of times they are not internally motivated. A lot of times they do not even act well because of consequences outside punishment. It's just about the fear they have for their parents. And once you take out that fear, misbehaviors increase. And you find out that such children, when they have the opportunity to break free, maybe they eventually get into the university or they go to boarding school, they will unleash all of those misbehaviors because you are no longer there to beat, to threaten, or to punish. But when you raise your children to respect you, for one, they will behave well, not out of fear, but because of the respect that they have for you and because they don't want to disappoint you. Number 2, children who respect their parents, they develop internal discipline quickly in life. Such children develop internal regulation quickly in life. They are able to think of consequences outside the fear, outside pain, outside punishment. They are able to sit down and think of consequences of their actions by themselves. So whether or not you are there, you are rest assured that your child will behave well because he has developed internal regulation, he has respect for you, and he doesn't want to disappoint you. Another thing you should know is that a lot of times children outgrow fear. Yes. But respect goes on to adulthood and it continues. You build. Number 2, raise children who trust you. Now, we have passed the era where you give children instruction and you say, because I said so. There are 1,000,001 contradictory information outside that looks as though it is right, but they have dangerous consequences and these children do not know. But they paint it and they make it look so appealing that it is very easy for children to fall into all of these negative traps. So if you're such a parent that you give instructions and you say, because I said so, your children are not going to trust you to the point where they need to. As a parent in this generation, try as much as possible to be knowledgeable. When you give your children, especially teenagers, when you give them instructions, try as much as possible to tell them the consequences attached. So don't just go ahead and tell them certain things and then you just tell, when they ask you why, you say, because I said so. Children don't question. No, allow children question you. That way they grow up to be mature, they grow up to be wise, and it becomes difficult for anybody to come and give them a contradictory reason that will derail them away from the instructions that you have given them. Another thing as a parent is mean what you say and say what you mean so that your children can trust you. When you give instructions, when you make promises, when you tell them you're going to give them consequences for misbehavior, try as much as possible to follow through. Say what you mean what you say at every point in time so that they can trust you. Also, when children come to ask you certain things that you do not know, tell them the truth that you do not know instead of lying to your children, because eventually when they find out the truth that you have lied to them, they are going to trust you less. And they may not want to take your instructions. They may not want to take your advice because you have broken that trust. So if you do not know, tell them you do not know, that you will find out and you will get back to them. Number 3, raise children who can think for themselves and make decisions. That's why when children misbehave, your first reaction shouldn't be to flog them. As much as possible, your first reaction shouldn't be to mete out punishment. Try to sit them down and let them tell you why. Get the reason behind that misbehavior, and I'll tell you why. Number 1, when a child misbehaves, and you try as much as possible to find out why, in behavior modification, we call it diagnosis of misbehavior. One thing it will do for you, it will let you know if there are other misbehaviors, in store where this particular one is coming from. Because a lot of times, a lot of what parents need to know is the fact that most times misbehaviors are actually symptoms of greater problems. Like they are the branches rather of the problem. The main root is deep down, growing deeper and deeper. So as a parent, when a child misbehaves, the first thing you should do is to find out why. And a lot of times when a child misbehaves and you say, come here, why did you do it? Their first reaction is nothing. Don't take that. Sit the child down, give the child a pen and a paper, let the child write why. When I say this, sometimes a lot of parents will say, I don't have time. If you misbehave, you will collect. No. You may beat the child, you may punish the child, and this particular misbehavior may stop. But I promise you, they will continue to give you different versions of misbehaviors. But if you find out why, you are able to get to the root of it and quench the fire. There are times that the child doesn't have any reason. The child just misbehaves. Now, that tells you as a parent that you are losing your parental grip. So that is also another reason. That tells you that you really need to begin to set boundaries. You really need to set the rules again. And you need to begin to enforce consequences. Another thing you need to find out is the fact that when a child can think for themselves, they are not easily manipulated. Most misbehaviors you see in children, they picked it from somewhere, either from the neighborhood, from the home, from their friends. But when you raise your child to be able to think for themselves, then to a very large extent, even when their friends or their mates are misbehaving, they're just there staring, they're just there looking because they know this is wrong and I don't want to be a part of it. Also, raise children who are confident and can stand on their own, right? They are not children that will fall easily for peer pressure. Yes, let your child know that instead of having the wrong set of friends, it's better for you to be alone. Eventually, good friends will come your way. It may take a while, but for the time being, instead of having the wrong set of friends, it is better for you to be by yourself. That said, also let your child know that no, that is no, is a complete sentence. When someone comes to meet them, to tell them to do things that are inappropriate, no is a complete sentence. They should say no and walk away without feeling the guilt or the need to explain further. No is a complete sentence and they walk away. And then lastly, raise children who can build healthy friendship. Raise children who can have the kind of friends that will make positive influence or impact in their lives. And especially for little children, how do they know if this person is a good friend? Like I always tell the little children around me, I say, if a friend tells you to come and do something that you know you cannot comfortably tell your mommy, tell your daddy, or tell your teacher, that is not a good friend. And if you continue to tell that friend, no, it's not a good thing, and the friend keeps insisting, then you know that is not a good friend. You don't want to be that person's friend because you're always going to get into trouble if you continue being friends with that person. If you have a friend that keeps telling you things that you know you will be ashamed to talk about it in public, that is not a good friend. If you have a friend that tells you things and tells you not to tell anybody, that is not a good friend. So these are cues, these are things you can tell your little children so they know whether this person is a safe friend or this person is not a safe friend. So I hope with these few tips I've shared as a parent, we know now that instead of your focus being for your children to be afraid of you, you have other areas you should be focusing on. Raise children who respect you, raise your children who trust you, raise children who can think for themselves, raise children who are confident and can stand on their own, and then lastly, raise children who can build healthy friendships and relationships. I'm Faith Benjamin, a parent coach and a child development advocate. Thank you.